The final table of the World Series of Poker Main Event is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This year, 9 poker players emerged from a field of 6,683. But for one member of this elite group, the opportunity is now twice in a lifetime.
Going back-to-back gives me a chance to finish what I started last year.
After a career full of ups and downs, Mark Newhouse finds himself in rarefied air. Back-to-back final tables with a legitimate shot at $10 million.
It's a big number. Can buy a lot of freedom. I don't know what I'll do with it yet, but I'll figure out when I have that problem.
Newhouse is not alone on this joyride. The Netherlands' Jorryt van Hoof is the chip leader.
This is a potentially once-in-a-lifetime experience, of course, but I really try to focus on playing poker and not on the end result.
9 players, 1 bracelet, $10 million for first. It's the 2014 World Series of Poker Main Event. Final destination, top of the poker world. Welcome to the 2014 World Series of Poker Main Event Final Table Telecast, presented by Gentleman Jack. It's a marathon, a minefield, a massive sea of poker players. Now the final 9 are in poker's promised land. Tonight, the business of awarding $10 million. No surprise to see huge crowds of supporters turn out for this final table. They've traveled from Brazil, Sweden, Norway, from all corners of the world. Hi everyone, Lon McCarran with Norman Chad. Kara Scott will provide updates from the floor. Mr. November 9, Mark Newhouse, is back for round 2.
Finishing 9th last year, he says, was the worst thing that could happen, but now he's back with a terrific chance to forge the best thing that could happen.
From the Netherlands, Jorryt van Hoof is a towering presence with a towering stack.
He had only 13 big blinds left when we were down to 291 players. Now he's in position to become the first Dutch main event champion ever.
Our leaderboard is closely packed. About an average stack separates first from 9th, Newhouse in 3rd. Foosball King Billy Pappas is in 6th. First through 8th place represents over $27.5 million in prize money. So we have our hands full tonight. A lot of business left to be decided.
9 single guys left. No marriages, no divorces, no couples counseling, just poker, baby.
There is our chip leader, the 31-year-old Jorryt van Hoof from the Netherlands. King 4, and he will give it up. And there is Newhouse, 9th place last year. 3rd biggest stack to start the night. Over to Will Tonking, cash game grinder from Jersey. He folds. Dan Sindelar, a golf addict, gives it up.
Nobody here over the age of 32, the youngest main event final table ever.
The oldest player here right there, Brazilian Bruno Politano, 32 years old, to the foosball king Billy Pappas with pocket 8s.
In his first main event, the only true amateur here.
A raise to $900,000 to the Norwegian Felix Stephsen in the big blind, 24-year-old.
Well, neither one of these guys was even going to play in the main event this year. Pappas planned to go to a foosball tournament in Austria. Stephsen planned to go to the World Cup in Brazil.
Stephsen makes the call for $500,000 more. You see Billy in seat 1. He says he's a dealer geek, a former dealer himself. He loves that seat. Here is the flop. 5-4 ace. The pocket 8's still good for the Yoshi-clad side of things. Pappas reaching for chips. $1,250,000. Stephsen with the wheel draw and queen high will come along.
Stephsen hanging around with squad douche. That's either a very bad idea or a very good idea.
Turn card, king of diamonds. Pappas is still good with those 8s. And he checks. Stephsen now. Not a big no-limit hold'em player, not a big tournament player, but here he is. He loves PLO. And he's going to fire away $1,750,000.
Stephsen in position, tries to use his position to push his out-of-position neighbor out of the pot. In other words, Lon, he's bluffing.
The pro attacking the amateur. Billy's going to stick around, to his credit.
Good call by Billy, but I would have preferred a check raise there. But that's easy for me to say sitting here. Heck, if I were sitting over there, I probably would have folded.
River card, 7 of hearts. So the pocket 8s are best. Another check from Billy.
Stephsen looks like he's gambling that Pappas does not have an ace.
Well, looks like he's got a second bullet in the chamber. That is a cool $4 million.
And for Billy Pappas, you know, it's one thing to call the turn, and sometimes you have caller's remorse come the river.
This World Series first-timer butting heads with some of the best in the game.
Nice.
And he does fold. Stevenson's bluff will work.
The pot limit Omaha specialist outplays the former poker dealer.
And the Norwegian side of the Penn and Teller Theater begin their chants. All right, well, let's officially meet this year's final table.
Seat 1, Billy Pappas, Lowell, Mass.
Seat 2, Felix Stephsen, Oslo, Norway.
Seat 3, Jorryt van Hoof, Eindhoven, the Netherlands.
Seat 4, Mark Newhouse, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Seat 5, Andoni Larrabe, Arrasate, Spain.
Seat 6, Will Tonking, Flemington, New Jersey.
Seat 7, Dan Sindelar from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Seat 8, Martin Jacobson, Stockholm, Sweden.
Seat 9, Bruno Politano, Ceará, Brazil.
4 chips in play. The big one right now, the $500,000 chip that's red on the table.
6 nations represented at this final table, plus New Jersey.
The blinds at 2 and 400,000 with a 50K ante. Van Hoof with King 10 on the button raises to $1 million in the big blind. The youngest here, 22-year-old Andoni Larrabe with 9-8 calls 600,000 more.
And I believe you're looking at Larrabe's entire wardrobe.
All right, we're heads up. The flop. 10, Jack 9. Larrabe with bottom pair and an open ender. The upper half of that draw no good because Van Hoof has a gut shot to a higher straight and middle pair. Larrabe checks.
Both these guys live in London, as do Martin Jacobson and Felix Stephsen, so the 4 of them could carpool to their online poker games.
$1.4 million from Van Hoof. And a call from Larrabe.
During the 7 days of the main event, I believe this is the only thing I saw Larrabe wear.
He was one of the chip leaders the whole time. You got to go with your good luck clothing. Turn card, King of Hearts. King's up now for Van Hoof. Larrabe does have outs to win and chop. And he's reaching for chips.
I like this. He's representing the queen on the turn here for a straight.
Straight draw is on the board. The Spaniard bets $3,350,000.
Van Hoof turned 2 pair, but if Larrabe has the straight, Van Hoof is dead to a 4-outer.
So the younger Larrabe testing the older, strapping 6'6" Dutch pro who does make the call here.
Newsflash, Van Hoof is smarter than I am. He doesn't believe Larrabe.
All right, so with over 12 million in the middle, we will see a river card. 7 of clubs. Larrabe gets there with a jack high straight. And he checks it.
Boy, he hits his hand and checks it? Maybe Larrabe fears Van Hoof has the queen. How does he check it? Wow.
Now Van Hoof with kings up, but a dangerous board.
All in.
Oh, and he puts Larrabe all in.
Boy, I didn't expect that.
And Larrabe gets rid of it.
Are you kidding me? We would need a team of analysts working 24/7 for 20 years to explain how Larrabe played this hand.
A surprising fold. Van Hoof over 40 million.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh yeah.
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that fight?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Welcome back to Las Vegas, the second biggest first place prize in main event history on the line tonight. Mark Newhouse, who made the final 9 last year and probably made it again this year, much to the surprise of my broadcast partner.
If he makes back-to-back main event final tables, I will dive into the LA River in the buff. I will climb the Sears Tower in flip-flops. I will zip line across the Grand Canyon with Mike Matusow on my back. If this guy makes back-to-back main event final tables, I will parachute out of a helicopter over Hoover Dam while playing bagpipes. I will cook 2 Cornish hens and slice an avocado while standing on my head. I will remarry and re-divorce my first wife. I think I'll need a court order. If this guy makes back-to-back November 9s, I will, why even bother at this point?
And I will accept any 2 of those proclamations by the end of the year from you.
It was a 1 in 524,000 chance. I believe I was on solid ground.
Larrabe and Newhouse will see a flop. Larrabe raised under the gun. Newhouse called in the big blind. 6-7 jack. Pocket 8s are still good for Mark. No immediate improvement for Larrabe. Newhouse checked.
The bizarre thing about Newhouse, he says he played 0 poker, no prep whatsoever after making the November 9 4 months ago.
$1.1 million from Larrabe with the smaller pocket pair. Newhouse calls with the better pocket pair.
See, he didn't have to practice playing poker to make that call.
He's done it 1,000,000 times. Turn card is a 5, and Larrabe turns trips. Newhouse with an open-ender checks again. Now Larrabe. How much can he get from Mark Newhouse? The youngest November Niner this year bets $2.5 million.
No, Newhouse isn't going anywhere. His 8s might still be good, and he has that straight draw.
Mark will commit the chips for a call. Almost $10 million in the pot. River card, king of clubs, so Larrabe's 3 5s are the best hand. Mark checks again.
If Larrabe doesn't bet this river, I will move to the Aleutian Islands and sell refrigerator magnets door to door.
I'm right with you. Oh, no! Get out the moving van. He does check.
Does Southwest fly to the Aleutians? That's one of the most bizarre river checks I've ever seen, Lon. I started playing poker in the late 1930s.
He folded a straight, then checks back, trips on the river. Caution, will not win world championships, young man.
What was Larrabe doing?
So a couple of questionable plays early on from Larrabe, but there's no question he is a great young player, just 22 years old. He was a force throughout this main event.
The first from Spain to make the main event final table since Carlos Mortensen won it all in 2001, and Larrabe would be the second youngest champ ever. He's a few months younger than 08 champ Peter Eastgate.
Of course, Joe Cotto won the 2009 main event, making him the youngest ever world champ. Pocket 10s for Newhouse after Van Hoof raised it to 1.1 with 8-7. Pocket queens for Will Tonking.
27-year-old University of South Carolina grad, all business on the felt. After poker, he wants to get into sports talk radio, but of course he'd have to talk.
That is true. With the pocket queens, those are more than just calling chips. A good opportunity for him here. A re-raise to $3,750,000 from Tonking. That gets rid of Van Hoof. Now back to Newhouse with the pocket 10s.
Remember big game James Worthy of the Lakers? This guy is main event Mark Newhouse.
Newhouse, who plays a lot in L.A., near the fabulous form where Worthy made his name, does come along.
How much did you start with, Mark?
22.
Okay.
22 million, that's 44 big blinds.
There's the flop. Deuce 4 jack. The queens are still best.
Tonking was below 20 big blinds at some point of all 7 days of the main event, but he's resilient and he kept picking up big hands at the right time.
Out of position with a continuation bet of $3.5 million.
Well, we've seen this before in the main event. Mark Newhouse behind.
And he just calls. Turn card now. Another 4 pairing the board. So queens up for Tonking, 10s up for Newhouse. And Tonking checks this time.
Newhouse ended day 1 with just below the starting stack, and he didn't think he'd last too long on day 2, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't think he'd make it to the November 9 again.
He's taking the reins here, betting $4.5 million.
Well, Newhouse certainly might think he has the best of it here.
You mentioned day 1, he was below his starting stack. Newhouse finished day 5 as the main event chip leader. And here's a call from Will Tonking. $25.5 million chips in the middle. The river card pairs the board again. A murmur through the crowd here, the large crowd at the Penn and Teller Theater. Tonking checks once more. Newhouse now.
All in.
Mark Newhouse moves all in on a bluff.
Wow. This is for almost all of Will Tonking's chips, but if he calls here, Newhouse is out in 9th place again.
I call.
Tonking makes the call, and he sees he's got Newhouse beat and pushes Newhouse out the door.
It's not possible, is it?
Oh, my.
He's not Mr. November 9. He's Mr. November 9th.
A very stunned crowd here watches as Mark Newhouse makes his exit again from this main event final table in 9th place.
Second straight year, he waits 4 months and gets no additional money. It was devastating last year. What is it this year?
I was gonna snap. If it wasn't the main event, I was gonna snap.
Wow!
I was gonna snap if it wasn't the main event.
And in a snap, Will Tonking is the chip leader. Time now for the gentleman jack right move of the night. It goes to Will Tonking for the impressive call to bust Mark Newhouse in 9th place again. Newhouse represented a full boat. Tonking wasn't buying it.
I call.
During the break, Karascott caught up with Mark Newhouse.
And out in 9th place, it's Mark Newhouse. Mark, we saw a lot of your play on the coverage. You're always so interesting to watch. You have a tendency to be able to play in lots of different styles. What do you think of Will's call there?
I mean, it's a good call. It's about where I thought he was. And I'm either bluffing or I'm not. I either got the jack or I'm turning less of a hand into a bluff, or I just have nothing. He made the right call.
We spoke earlier about how you spent pretty much 8 months of the last 2 years waiting for a final table. So what happens now for you?
Back to normal life, back to the grind. That's it.
Thank you so much, Mark, out in 9th.
That hand reminiscent of Steve G's all-in 2012 versus Russell Thomas to also go out in 9th. Figure the table's playing tight, take advantage, and it backfires.
Van Hoof and Larrabe took a flop. Larrabe got the best of it with middle pair. Jorryt, though, bets $1,000,004, and Larrabe will come along.
Van Hoof and Larrabe again, and Larrabe in position.
Turn card. Tray of hearts. Van Hoof now picks up an open-ender. Dutch poker pro. The chip leader starting this final table. Checks this time. Larrabe reaches for some of those oversized red chips. That's a total of $1.7 million.
What a monster day 7 Van Hoof had to become chip leader. He knocked out Dan Smith in 20th place, Andrei Zaichenko in 17th, and Eddie Sabat in 16th.
He said he wasn't going to come to this final table with any specific chip leader role. He was just going to watch, see how it plays out, and now with a check raised to $6.7 million.
A check raise semi-bluff. The Van Hoof hammer. It's a big hammer. You got to love this play. Van Hoof puts Larrabe on a weak hand, a one-pair hand maybe, and if he calls, Van Hoof can bluff again or get there with an ace or his straight draw.
Larrabe once again with the best hand here, but a very tough decision, and he is going to lay it down.
The weakness of position by Andoni Larrabe coming soon to a bookstore near you, and the Van Hoof hammer coming soon to a movie theater near you.
Jorryt van Hoof has used his big stack well. Born in the Netherlands, he's one of 4 players at this final table who now lives in London.
He was a preteen Magic the Gathering savant, and now he has a poker training website. I have a Groupon for it, Lon, but it's all in Dutch.
It's his birthday in a few days. He would love to bring a new piece of jewelry to that party. Bruno Politano from Brazil with Queen 10 on the button.
Started as the short stack.
I'm all in.
And he says all in for $8.1 million.
13 big blinds. Bruno's been pretty quiet, and his rail has actually been relatively quiet.
Billy Pappas folds a small blind. Felix Stephsen calls with pocket 7s.
Well, at least he's got a flip
Flip.
Brazil's first main event final tables ever in a race for his main event life.
Bruno Politano ignited a very excitable country with his performance during the main event, trying to hang on here.
Vamos, dama 10, vamos, dama 10, vamos, dama 10, vamos. Vamos, dama, vamos, dama, vamos, dama.
Stephsen says he doesn't like to flip. He tries to look for better spots, but this was a pretty good spot here. Bruno's sister Zizi is more stressed than he is.
Politano flipping for his main event life.
Queen 10 against the 7s, deuce 6 tray. No love there for Bruno.
Stephsen poised for the knockout. The boisterous Brazilian rail hoping to burst with joy for Bruno.
Turn card is paint, but it's a king. No help to Politano. One more chance to pull it out of the fire.
For her sake, I hope Bruno hits the river.
The Brazilians from this Rio to Rio de Janeiro calling for a queen or a 10. The river is a 9 of hearts. Bruno Politano, the second victim to fall at this final table.
Well played.
Enjoy.
Awesome to have.
And she's got a middle seat on her flight home.
Politano out in 8th, winning over $947,000.
His second main event produces a Brazilian celebration.
About 150 Brazilians traveled 6,000 miles to see the first Brazilian ever to make the main event final table. Politano out in 8th place. Before play began, the final 9 took a spin at the Rio's latest attraction, the Voodoo Zip Line. Norman, what would it take for you to go on that?
What, suddenly I'm Nick Wallenda? I only like riding an escalator.
Andoni Larrabe had a very good time. All right, so Billy Pappas, Dan Sindelar are the two players under 10 million chips at this moment. Felix Stephsen under the gun with ace-10. And a raise to 1.3 million. Van Hoof now, ace tray of hearts.
Van Hoof has lorded over this final table. He's the tallest guy in the middle of the table with the biggest stack and the iciest stare.
Van Hoof.
3 million.
Announces a re-raise to 3 million. And now Larrabe with pocket 10s.
And now Van Hoof looks at Larrabe like, I know you will fold your pocket 10s.
Or you will fold your pocket 10s. And Larrabe does fold the pocket 10s.
Don't know about that.
So, good fold.
Excellent.
Sindelar wakes up with jacks.
On.
And he says all in for over 9.2 million.
The Las Vegas pro, by way of a Nebraska farm, pushes with 15 big blinds left.
Billy Pappas wants to wake up with something better, but he does not. Stephsen now. The original raiser folds back to Van Hoof with the suited ace.
And Van Hoof knows he isn't best here, but it's just for 10% of his big stack, and he's getting better than 2-1 on his money.
Jorryt makes the call and will try to score the knockout of Dan Sindelar.
Well, Sindelar hasn't had much traction at this final table, but this double-up would give him 35 big blinds.
Sindelar, a golf and poker addict, looking to double through the chip leader. Here is the flop, and there is an ace and a couple of hearts. Van Hoof with a monster flop.
About as ugly a flop as a farm boy from Nebraska could see.
So the jack of hearts no good for Dan anymore.
It's been all Jorryt van Hoof at this final table.
And now the turn card. Tray of diamonds, aces up now for Van Hoof, but Sindelar still only looking for a single card.
And indeed, only one card in the deck saves Dan Sindelar, the jack of spades.
The river card is the queen of spades, and that will end this main event for Dan Sindelar. Van Hoof increases his leading stack to more than 74 million.
Sindelar's 18th World Series cash and his first main event cash.
It's worth over 1.2 million. Dan's family feels his pain, and the Van Hoof supporters continue to live a charmed life. Jorryt van Hoof well on his way to continuing some of the recent success the Netherlands has had in the world of sport. Michiel Brimmelhouse made last year's final table.
He was just a lucky tall guy like Van Hoof.
The country's speed skating squads won 24 medals at the recent Winter Games.
Speed skating? That's a sport? Please.
The men's soccer team finished third at the World Cup.
Third place? Who remembers third place?
And now Van Hoof is the chip leader at the main event with 6 players remaining.
Frankly, I was always hoping Marcel Loos would be the first Dutch main event champion.
So 6 players remain. Everyone here guaranteed a payout of over $1.6 million. Will Tonking, second in chips now. 9-6, not cards you're going to play very often.
He prepped for the final table, getting counsel from his 3 smartest poker friends, including Matt Deal, who he says is the best player you've never heard of.
Folded to Jacobson in the small blind, queen tray of diamonds. And Martin says all in. He's got a bigger stack than the big blind Billy Pappas, who has king jack of spades.
Pappas with just 10 big blinds left.
I don't think I'm folding. I have like 5 times. I call.
He does make the call. So the 2 short stacks squaring off. Pappas with about $6.5 million. Jacobson with $15.5 million.
Ooh, this is my first real hard.
Pappas the only amateur at the table. Jacobson trying to become the first Swedish main event champ.
Billy's supporters on their feet looking for a double up. Here is the flop, and there's a queen for Jacobson to take the lead. Pappas did flop a spade flush draw and a Broadway draw.
What a flop.
Yeah, Norman Pappas is actually favored right now. All right, turn card. 8 of diamonds brings a flush draw now to Jacobson, taking a couple of outs from Billy.
Yeah, so now Pappas would need a spade or a non-diamond 10 or king to stick around.
The river card is a non-diamond king, and that will keep Billy Pappas alive in this main event.
Who doesn't want Billy Pappas to stick around? And Martin Jacobson now the short stack here.
Billy's crowd is full of foosballers who are used to seeing him win. As you mentioned, Martin Jacobson knocked out again, playing with $9.1 million now in the short stack. For Billy Pappas, the fame is not that surprising. It's the reason for the fame that has caught him off guard.
I went back to my work. They gave me like a standing ovation and stuff. That was awesome. But being here in Vegas, actually, I was on the street walking down the strip and someone stopped me and shook my hand. That was cool. And someone asked me to autograph a couple things. So yeah, it's super exciting. I never thought it would happen for poker. For foosball, it happens, but for poker, it's awesome.
Now, Walter Ray Williams Jr. is a bowling and horseshoes champion. Why can't Billy Pappas be a foosball and poker champion?
What's better than giving an autograph in Vegas? Pocket kings at the main event final table for Billy Pappas. From 1 off the button, a raise to $1.4 million. Stevenson folds his button. Van Hoof is small blind. Larrabe in the big blind with king queen of hearts.
A little under 13.
Taking a peek at the in-house scoreboard.
12.7 started.
Larrabe has twice as many chips as Pappas.
Billy, the Lowell Mass amateur. Larrabe, the Spanish pro. And he re-raises Pappas all in, and a snap call with the kings from Pappas.
Well, we haven't seen too much go right for Larrabe. And Pappas, just a short stack a moment ago, in great position to double up again to the 3rd biggest stack.
Wow, that is amazing. You can see how quickly things turn around, both for the good and the bad. Pappas going for another double up. Ace, ace, ace! Oh, that's fun. Larrabe now needs runner, royal flush to scoop this pot and knock out Pappas.
I know, I can't lose.
Turn card 4 of spades. Pappas will survive. Larrabe can still chop it, but he will not. That's a full double up for Billy Pappas.
Here comes the foosball wizard on the felt.
Billy Pappas giving himself a chance to win this main event title, while Larrabe sees his slipping away. Well, we can't show you every hand at this final table, so while other players make huge moves with double-ups and bluffs, Swede Martin Jacobson is making use of the all-in and with great success. Hand after hand, sometimes with strong holding, sometimes with weak. He has moved all in without a call, chipping up and putting himself in position to make an even deeper run.
I'd be curious to see what he would do with a big stack, but so far, he's had just one move all in, and it has not failed him.
Yeah, he said he was never all in for all his tournament chips leading up to the final table, but he has used that weapon well.
Well, here is the big stack, Van Hoof. Stylish hair, perfectly groomed beard, winning personality. He reminds me of a young Norman Chad.
On the button, a raise to 1.8 million with King 5 of hearts. Larrabe in the small blind, Jack 10 of clubs.
And I think Larrabe is tired of the young Norman Chad. He's tired of losing. He's even tired of his own outfit.
Larrabe has had tough sledding so far. All in. He says all in. 10 big blinds into the middle. Tonking folds his big blind. Now back to Van Hoof.
Van Hoof probably figures he's behind here, though he's not. And it's again for less than 10% of his big stack.
There is the affordable call. And now Van Hoof trying to eliminate the talented Andoni Larrabe.
Suited connectors may lead Larrabe down the boulevard of broken dreams. You can't blame him for going all in there against Van Hoof. One guy smiling, one guy frowning. It's been that way all night between these two.
Larrabe at risk. Here is the flop, and there is a king for Van Hoof, leaving Larrabe with a tall order to fill. He needs runner help.
I think this might be yours. Sorry? I think today is really working out for you.
Andoni Larrabe's day is growing short.
Turn card, another 8, not what the 22-year-old needed. Andoni Larrabe in the books as the 6th place finisher.
Well played.
Larrabe wins over 1.6 million, not bad for the 22-year-old. And Van Hoof keeps hammering away. With Larrabe's chips, Van Hoof over 85 million. Before play began, we spoke to Jorryt about coming in as the biggest stack.
I think most people I speak to understand that being the chip leader alone isn't enough. So what I hear from a lot of people is you're the chip leader and you're a good player, so you've got this. So that feels a lot better than just being the chip leader. And
in the November 9 era, just one chip leader, Jonathan Duhamel in 2010, has gone on to win the main event.
Everyone got a pay bump. Over $500,000 more now for 5th place. Pappas in 2nd place now with King 10 of diamonds. He's got over 28 million chips.
Billy says there's not enough money in foosball, where the best player in the world gets $30,000 a year. Billy now staring at a minimum $2 million payout here at the main event.
He raised to $2.25 million. Stephsen with ace 8 of diamonds in the small blind.
The first Norwegian to make the main event final table since Tormod Roren in 1997.
Stephsen all in for almost 21 million, and jacks for Van Hoof.
Boy, Stephsen pushed with 20 big blinds left, and to his left, Van Hoof has a bigger hand.
Van Hoof checking the in-house scoreboard.
20 million.
20.8.
Stephsen waiting for the verdict.
I'm all in.
Jorryt shoves, Pappas folds.
That's not good news.
Stephsen on the hook and behind.
The two PLO specialists collide, and this collision could send Felix Stephsen home.
Van Hoof trying to work his magic with pocket jacks and knock out Stephsen. Van Hoof can seemingly do nothing wrong tonight.
Lucky us for having the AC. Ace is pretty good today. Lucky to have the AC.
Stevenson's coach, Scott Seaver, thinks it's lucky to have the ace-8, and Scott's hardly ever wrong.
There's the flop, and he's right!
Stephsen gets an ace on the flop and a chest massage, and he's about to double up to 44 million chips.
So now it's Van Hoof looking to improve to keep his roll going. Here is the turn card, no help to the Dutchman. Hitting his first speed bump at this final table.
Three.
So good. We want three diamonds.
Three diamonds will do.
Well, anything but a jack will do for Felix.
The river card. The 7 of spades will work. A double up for the Norwegian pro.
Oh, mama. Good time to get lucky.
Felix Stephsen with the double up to the chip leader, back into second place with almost 45 million. All in and behind, no problem for the 24-year-old Felix Stephsen. He's originally from Oslo, Norway, now lives in London. He's made quite a splash with his first ever World Series of Poker cash.
Now, this is how kooky poker is. Felix is an online pot limit Omaha cash game specialist who plays virtually no limit hold'em, online or live. The only World Series tournament he played this year is the main event, the biggest live no limit hold'em tournament in the world, and he might win it.
All in.
With fives, Jacobson raises all in for over 24 million. Pappas with ace-jack.
Jacobson should start a training site on all-in technique. And Pappas, with virtually an identical stack, has a big hand here in the small blind.
He has been playing his rush.
All in.
And he says all in. Stephsen has them both covered. He folds, so here we go. Both effectively all in, but Pappas does have a stack worth a measly 50K more than Jacobson.
The winner of this hand will have 25% of the chips in play. The loser is done for. Jacobson at risk. Pappas trying to become the first amateur to win a main event since Jerry Yang in 2007 would have only 50K left, as you said. That's less than an ante.
Pappas trying to come from behind with ace-jack. Jacobson with a made hand, those pocket fives. Here is the flop and a five. A set for Jacobson leaves Pappas in dire straits.
Pappas now would need running straight cards or his main event dream is all but over.
The turn card, the 7 of clubs ends it. Pappas drawing dead. Jacobson with a double up. He'll work now with almost 51 million. And as you mentioned, Billy Pappas can't even afford a full ante.
Less than a chip in a chair.
Billy Pappas does have a long climb ahead of him, but he does have the Yoshi hat. Jacobson now with a very workable stack. Just before the break, Billy Pappas lost a crushing hand, leaving his stack at just 50,000, 1/10 of the small blind, and just barely more than the day one starting stack.
I wish I had like a faker hand than that.
Now Pappas all in, trying to get up to 250. His 7s trailing Van Hoof's jacks. Van Hoof still ahead.
Well, if Billy gets lucky here, he actually would quintuple up to half of a small blind.
Turn card, another queen.
It's not over.
It's not, but he needs it now.
Pappas has to have a 7.
The river card is a 6, and that brings an official end to Poker's World Championship run for this foosball world champ.
Real awesome playing with you, dude. That was awesome.
Thank you for everything.
A well-spoken and likable competitor, Billy Pappas made the 2014 main event more fun. And he wins over 2.1 million.
Adios. Good luck, guys.
He's the epitome of the main event. Anyone can enter, anyone can win, and Billy Pappas was an utter delight around these parts.
Van Hoof with a 3rd straight knockout. Let's go down to Kara with our 5th place finisher.
Out in 5th place, it's William Papa Constantino, otherwise known as Billy Pappas. Thought we'd get your full name in there for once. Now, this was the first tournament you played over a $500 buy-in. So talk to us about what this achievement means to you.
It means a lot. You know, like I said before, I've been dreaming about this since 2005. So, yeah, it's a pretty awesome accomplishment.
You already have world championships as well. You have hundreds of titles under your belt in foosball. So how does this kind of rank, this sort of final table?
Well, this is, you know, like life-changing money. So foosball is just like for prestige, and this is for prestige as well. But yeah, a couple more spots would have been nice.
Anyone can do it. You've had a great crowd here behind you. Thank you for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Now we are 4-handed. Van Hoof with more chips than the other 3 put together. Ace king of clubs for Martin Jacobson under the gun.
In his best position in a long time with 35 big blinds. He was actually down to 7 big blinds earlier at this final table.
The blinds at $500,000 and $1 million. Still a raise to $2.25 million. Stephsen, king, queen on the button.
He played on Norway's best youth soccer team as a teen, but lost his motivation and switched to poker. My goodness, if every soccer player switched to poker, the main event would have like 2 billion entrants.
He is a very good athlete. He makes the call. Van Hoof with 8-7.
He hasn't 3-bet in a while. He needs his fix.
But not on this hand. Tonking now, who has been hit with a run of cold cards. In the big blind, he folds, so it's an all Scandinavian heads up. Ace king, king, queen. Our flop, 6-10 tray, pretty much a miss for both. Ace high, still best for Jacobson. The Swede,
2 million.
Says 2 million.
I am reminded of Antonio Esfandiari's sage teachings. It's hard to make a pair in Hold'em. Ace-king is good here.
The Norwegian with 4 red chips, that's a call.
Well, we saw Felix float a flop against Billy Pappas earlier and bluff the turn. I guess that's his plan again.
Stevenson pairs up and takes the lead. Jacobson picks up a Broadway draw. Reaching for chips again, Martin announces 5 million.
And ace-king often might still be good here. But now Stevenson doesn't even have to bluff the turn. He's got the best hand with queens.
2 players with nearly even stacks. Jacobson has moved up from the basement to second place. Stevenson started in second place. And with top pair, strong kicker, just a call.
Well, Stevenson in position, playing cautiously against Jacobson. It's pot control on. One of my specialties.
River card. Another queen. Norway has trips. Jacobson now checks his ace-king.
Remember, originally, I believe Stevenson was hoping to bluff at this pot after the flop. Maybe it's not as much fun to bet a monster.
Well, he'll make his fun where he can. He's got a lot of those red chips, 11.5 million.
Stevenson bets more than half the pot, and Jacobson is left with ace high and maybe thinks Felix is bluffing here. It could be a busted flush draw.
He's hoping his ace-king is good, but it's going to cost him to find out. Stevenson with trips.
A call.
Jacobson makes the call, but Stevenson has it and will now put some distance between himself and Martin Jacobson.
Jacobson broke my rule. Better to fold and be wrong than call and be wrong. And Stevenson now very strong.
The Stevenson contingent all smiles after that rare misstep by Martin Jacobson gave Felix Stevenson a huge boost. Ace-king looked great before the flop, and unfortunately for Martin, it looked good on the river too.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that fight?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Felix Stevenson enjoying the rush of the zip line a few days ago and enjoying a rush at this final table.
But look, the zip line exhausted him. He can barely sit up, and you want me to ride that thing.
Jacobson in third place. Hasn't made a lot of headway at this final table, but he's still kicking. That's the important thing. Van Hoof, queen 7 of diamonds. With the big stack, a raise to 2.2 million. On the button, Will Tonking with pocket deuces.
Since he briefly took the chip lead when he knocked out Mark Newhouse, Tonking has slowly bled chips.
Pocket pair probably looks pretty good.
All in.
It looks real good to Will as he shoves for 20 million. Pocket 10s for Jacobson.
Tonking push with 20 big blinds left, and he's gonna have company.
All in.
And he's all in for just 21 big blinds. Van Hoof folds, so here we go with 2 nearly identical stacks again. Tonking with the worst of it.
Jacobson likes it. Tonking doesn't. And Tonking is crushed.
And here is the flop, 4-5 jack all clubs. So the flame burns a little brighter for Will picking up the flush draw.
Well, Jacobson seems to be enjoying the sweat, but if he loses this one, he's just about done.
Team Tonking calling for something helpful. Turn card. Not a club, but Tonking adds a straight draw to his arsenal of outs.
Tonking now with 14 outs to survive here. The New Jersey resident now needs any club a deuce, or a tray to survive.
The river card. The Queen of Spades. Jacobson fades all the danger, delivering the knockout blow. Will Tonking comes up just short, out in fourth place.
Good game, man.
He wins over $2.8 million.
So Tonking leaves us, and this main event final table is now down to 3 young, talented Europeans.
Martin Jacobson comes up big as he builds his stack to over $45 million. Will Tonking came to this final table with the 7th biggest chip stack, but leaves in 4th place. So with Tonking's elimination, we are 3-handed for the bracelet and the $10 million first place prize. Van Hoof with about half the chips in play. Stephsen and Jacobson separated by just $11 million.
And we are going to have the main event's first ever Dutch champion, Norwegian champion, or Swedish champion.
Time now for the DraftKings.com king of the night. No surprise here, it's Jorryt van Hoof. Chip leader to start, even bigger chip leader now. 3-handed, yep, he got lucky, but he also played incredibly well.
He's tall, he's good looking, he's got the most chips, and he's got a full head of hair. Who can stop that?
Go Europe, go London. Go Europe, go London.
In 2013 and 2014, Mark Newhouse probably made back-to-back final tables, then more, and probably finished 9th again. Politano, Sindelar, Larrabe, Pappas, and Tonking followed Newhouse, leaving 3 Europeans fighting for $10 million and the main event bracelet.
When I won the World Series, I was numb with excitement.
When I won, it validated my career choice.
When I won, I hired a private jet to take my dad and I back home.
When I won, I was instantly tackled by all of my friends, and the rest is history.
When I won, I went looking for the best cash game I could find.
When I win, I'll throw a really big party here in Vegas, take my bracelet to the Netherlands, and throw even a bigger party there.
When I win, I have literally no idea how I'm going to react. We'll see.
When I win, I'm going to do a fist bump Tiger Woods would be proud of.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker Main Event Final Table Telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. We started with 9. We are now down to just 3. Here at the Rio, a massive first place prize of $10 million awaits the winner. Hi everyone, Lon McCarran with my longtime broadcast partner Norman Chad Karras-Scott has been with us all season providing reports from the floor. From the Netherlands, Jorryt van Hoof remains our chip leader.
He's Dutch, but he lives in London. I hope he can find friends there with common interests.
Felix Stephsen from Norway started in 2nd and remains in 2nd.
He's Norwegian, but he lives in London. At least we know he has one poker friend he can hang out with.
Martin Jacobson has worked a short stack to perfection.
He's Swedish and he lives in London. I'm sorry, is Buckingham Palace or Caesar's Palace there? And who wants to play in a home game with those 3 guys?
Oh, look at the payouts. 3 players with a chance for that $10 million, each guaranteed at least $3.8 million. Not bad, even in London.
6,352 players last year, and Mark Newhouse finished 9th. 6,683 this year, and Mark Newhouse finished 9th. I'm betting against him finishing 9th next year.
Van Hoof with 3 knockouts so far. Jacobson with 2. Stephsen with 1. Van Hoof folded. Jacobson with pocket aces in the small blind.
Phil Helm, you take note. A lot of idiots from Northern Europe made the November 9 this year.
3.6.
A raise from Jacobson. Stephsen ahead in the chip count, behind with a card count.
Actually, these are all Northern Europeans with beards living in London.
The Netherlands is kind of Western Europe.
I know what I know.
Stephsen in the big blind with a couple of picture cards. Looks like he wants to play. He does. Call for $2.4 million more. Stephsen knocked out Bruno Politano, making him a wanted man in Brazil. 7-10-5. Jacobson with a hammerlock on this hand.
4.
$4 million from Jacobson.
We've seen Felix Stephsen float on a couple of flops earlier at this final table. Let's see if he does it again here.
Get a good look at poker's version of the Roman Colosseum without the lions and the death and the blood and all that stuff. Stephsen, chips in hand. Those reds are worth $500,000 each, and there's a call.
When I call with king high on this kind of flop in my home game, my opponent always has aces. Nice to see Felix and I have one thing in common.
Oh, a king. That's an awful card for Stephsen, the worst in the deck as he pairs up against the pocket aces.
Yeah, sometimes when you float on the flop, you sink on the turn. Stephsen hits the card he wants, and it's going to cost him.
10.
10 million this time from the Swede. Back to you, Norway.
Well, if Jacobson had checked here, there was a chance Stephsen was betting any card on the turn. He could raise here, but I think he'll opt for pot control as I instructed him during our training sessions.
And he still made it into the top 3. And there is a call from Felix Stephsen. It's getting very expensive for him.
And the pot now swells to more than 35 million.
Yeah, control that pot. River card now is a queen, and so the aces of Jacobson are best.
Well, with those aces, this is where I stop firing because I honestly have no idea what my opponent has.
Van Hoof in the background, his chip lead won't be nearly so big very soon.
15.
You heard the man.
Jacobson seems to think his aces are good because at age 27, he's forgotten more about poker than I'll ever know.
So back to Felix Stephsen, who was called every step of the way.
Stephsen top pair, big kicker, looking at a scary board.
I call.
He makes the call. Jacobson will take that monster pot and is now neck and neck with Van Hoof for the chip lead. Stephsen on the outside looking in.
Oh, and we saw the fist pump from Jacobson. That indicates extreme joy.
And in the crowd, Jacobson's mom on the right, his sister and girlfriend on their feet. Martin now over 86 million chips, moving into second place after starting this final table in 8th. He was the most decorated of the final tablists this year with nearly $5 million in live tournament earnings. Born in Sweden, now lives in London, I hear.
He prefers London to Stockholm, but he and his girlfriend are getting tired of the big city lifestyle, so they're looking to move somewhere with nature and fresh air. I don't think he's going to be a neighbor of mine in Los Angeles.
Just 2 chips in play. They have taken off the 250,000 chips, so just the 100K and 500K chips in play. Jacobson folds to Stephsen with king-queen.
And Stephsen now with just 20 big blinds after that hit against Jacobson. Stephsen, the first Norwegian at the main event final table since Tormod Roren in 1997.
I'm all in.
In the small blind, he shoves. Now Van Hoof, our chip leader.
Back-to-back main event final tables for the Netherlands. Michiel Brimmelhaus made it last year.
Van Hoof folds, and Stephsen will pick up the blinds at Andy's, up to almost 26 million now. All of our November Niners here in 2014 were seeking their first World Series bracelet. Each of our final 3 trying to become the first main event champion from their homeland. 3-handed. The button will act first. It is Felix Stephsen, Jack Deuce. He does fold. Van Hoof with Jack 9 off suit.
At 31, Van Hoof, the eldest of these 3.
He's a businessman and entrepreneur. He just limps for 600,000 more. Jacobson in the big blind, ace-6 of hearts.
He's the first Swede at the main event final table since Eric Freiberg in 2006.
He checked his option.
Jacobson disguises the strength of his hand by not raising with the ace. I disguise the strength of my bank account by not showing a statement to my first wife.
Van Hoof flops 2 pair.
18. 1.8.
1.8 million. Yeah, that's better. He's having a birthday in a few days.
Well, I got to say, Lon, I don't know why Van Hoof has put on the shades. Before, he had such a presence with his intense stare. Not sure why he changed it up 3-handed. You see, Jacobson over there, yeah, he could have gone laser eye surgery and gotten rid of his glasses 3-handed, but the glasses work for him.
They do indeed. Just a call with the suited ace.
In London, no one gives up on the flop. Because if you fold, you've got to go out into the traffic, and that's a bad scene out there.
Turn card 10 of diamonds. Van Hoof still best.
with the shades on, he just seems like another hipster looking for an after-hours bar in Seattle. Without the shades, he was so distinctive.
Both the straight draws, but Jacobson's straight would be no good as Jorryt would make a higher straight. A check now from Van Hoof. And Jacobson wants to take a shot. 3.8 million.
Call.
And there's the call.
Now, without or with the shades, Van Hoof still playing good poker.
He has dominated this final table so far. River card now. Another 7. Van Hoof is best with 7s full. Over 14 million in the pot.
2 million.
And a tiny bet from Van Hoof, 2 million.
Now, that's 1/7 of the pot. That bet smells like Deo Lutefisk.
It smells like fresh lutefisk too, by the way.
Oh, I'll stick to salmon.
Will Jacobson take this bait? No, he decides to fold. Not going to waste those chips. Van Hoof will take the pot. His crowd loves it. Van Hoof still with good reason to smile. He has nearly half the chips in play. Welcome back to Las Vegas for the World Series of Poker Main Event Final Table Telecast presented by Gentleman Jack, the Penn and Teller Theater. Jammed to start the night. There are still very few empty seats to be had. It is the biggest night on the poker calendar. Felix Stephsen right there, the short stack, the big stack on the button. Jorryt van Hoof, Jack 5 offsuit.
At 31 years of age, he's trying to break a string of 6 straight years in which 20-somethings have won the main event.
He says raise to 2.6 million. He looks at Martin Jacobson, who folds 6-4 now to Stephsen in the big blind with 9-8 offsuit, and he will call.
Stephsen and Van Hoof, both pot limit Omaha specialists, closing in on the No Limit Hold'em World Championship.
All right, here's our flop. Heads up, Trey 4-9, top pair for Stephsen. Van Hoof left with some backdoor hope. Stephsen checks. Van Hoof checks back. Turn card. 5 of hearts. Stephsen still good with the 9s, but Van Hoof did pair up with that 5.
Stephsen had hoped Van Hoof was going to fire at that flop. It didn't happen. Felix will have to do his own bidding now.
24-year-old who had a birthday during the break. Bets 4 million.
And the good news here for Stephsen is that Van Hoof paired on the turn, but is still far behind. He's probably going to stick around.
Van Hoof told us in regards to the final table, nothing else has been on my mind, but he tries not to think of the $10 million. That can be a distraction. He makes the call. River card now, the pot, almost 14.5 million. King of clubs, 3rd club on board. Stephsen's 2 9s are best.
Stephsen probably not worried about the flush getting there because Van Hoof would have c-bet with a club draw on the flop.
I'm all in.
Stephsen taking a risk and shoving.
Wow, he's less worried than I think. He pushes with 14 big blinds left. And Van Hoof wondering, would Stephsen bluff shove? Could a pair of 5s really be good here?
Short-handed. Do you love a piece of the board? Jorryt van Hoof. Makes the call! And Felix Stephsen gets paid off in full.
The all-in surprised me, Lon. The call surprised me even more.
Felix Stephsen with chips to work with, 3-handed. Van Hoof with the hero call that came up empty.
I'm finished. How much is it?
Felix Stephsen with almost 49 million chips.
Van Hoof should take off the sunglasses. It's not too late.
Before tonight's final table, we talked to Felix about the opportunity to become a champion.
having such a good shot at becoming the world champion, that's just amazing. And so that would be awesome. And I'm going to try to capitalize on this moment and try to make the most of it, because it's, for most of us, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Well, for Mark Newhouse, it was a twice-in-a-row once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but Felix is right. Capitalize now.
Jacobson folds 10 deuce of diamonds. The newly minted doubled-up Felix Stephsen with 9-6 off.
Stephsen with a bunch of pros on his rail here, and he's getting coaching from bracelet winner Scott Seaver.
He calls for 600,000. Van Hoof with ace-8 of spades.
Van Hoof credits Jorryt Tendler and his book, The Mental Game of Poker, for helping him prep for the November 9. Of course, I wrote The Physical Game of Poker, which teaches you how to block and tackle your opponents.
3 million.
Jorryt van Hoof is going to make it a little more expensive to play. A raise to 3 million.
Van Hoof has raised more pots than others, so it makes sense to raise here with a strong hand from the big blind.
And Stevenson's going to come along with 9-6 offsuit. Norwegian getting creative. All right, here's the flop. It is Trey 5-7. Stephsen with a double gutter. Van Hoof is best with ace high right now. And Felix wants to put more chips into the pot. That is 4.3 million.
Stephsen with the semi-bluff. Plus he figures that baby card flop missed Van Hoof, since Van Hoof raised pre-flop.
Well, it did indeed miss him, but Van Hoof is still best with ace high, and he does make the call.
Boy, I'm staying out of London, Lon. I would never win a pot there.
Nobody folds on the flop in London. Turn card now is the 4 of spades. Stephsen with a 7 high straight, and Van Hoof with a draw to a flush and higher straight.
By the way, Van Hoof is staring at Stephsen right now, but behind those shades, it's just lost.
8.5 million from Stephsen here with the straight.
And Van Hoof still doesn't have a hand. He's got his face pressed up against the window, gazing at the nuts on the other side of the window, but he can't get to it yet.
Cool.
Well, he's going to try to get to it by calling 8.5 million.
Still, it's just ace high, but he's drawn to the nut flush and a higher straight.
All right. Over 32 million in the middle, the river card. Another 4. Van Hoof left with a handful of busted draws. And with this straight, Stephsen going to work once again. That's a two-handed bet of 15.5 million.
He bets half the pot. Earlier, I thought Felix was hoping Van Hoof wouldn't call his pair of 9s all in. Here, he's hoping Van Hoof does call.
But Van Hoof got no piece of this board.
Now, how can ace high be good here? It can't even beat a lot of bluffs.
Jorryt giving this a lot of thought.
Well, Jorryt should take off the sunglasses and just muck.
Well, he'll muck, and Stephsen will take that pot as he gets stronger at this three-handed table now. The Norwegian fans with reason to celebrate. Felix Stephsen takes another big chunk from Jorryt van Hoof's stack. The one-time chip leader is now the short stack.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Let's go to Kara Scott with a report on Martin Jacobson's final table preparation.
Martin Jacobson came into this final table towards the bottom of the leaderboard, but 6 players are gone, and although he's had to grind a short stack at times, he is still here. He told me that part of his edge comes from his greater experience at no-limit hold'em tournaments, but he didn't let that get in his way. He prepared intensely in the 4 months leading up to the final table. He said that he worked with poker pros who all specialized in different variants of the game, looking at short stack play, heads up, 6-max, even cash game play, just to give himself an even deeper understanding of the game of poker. He said that for a pro not to do that, it would be unthinkable, especially given what's at stake.
Jacobson did 500 hours of prep work for the final table. Mark Newhouse, on the other hand, did 0 prep work.
Jacobson with Jack 9 offsuit on the button and a raise to 2.7 million. We are 3-handed for the $10 million first place prize. Van Hoof in the big blind with 9-8 off.
And oh look, the sunglasses are gone. Jorryt van Hoof is back. Hopefully not too late.
Jacobson, the chip leader right now. Van Hoof, the former chip leader.
Actually, maybe he took off his sunglasses for a moment, and now he's wondering where he left them.
That's a possibility, too. And he calls for $1.5 million more.
It's the men in black, heads up to the flop.
Van Hoof dominated here. The flop and top pair for both. Jacobson with the better kicker.
Check.
Van Hoof checks.
See, now when Van Hoof stares at you, you don't want to look at him.
Check.
I check back, neither willing to commit. Turn card, King of Diamonds.
No reason for Van Hoof not to believe his 9s are good here.
Yep, Jacobson checked after him, and now he is firing. 3.8 million.
Jacobson maintains the same posture at all times, as if he's modeling for a Michelangelo sculpture, the statue of Martin.
And Martin makes that call. 14 million. Jacobson ahead with a better kicker. River card. 7 of hearts, so Jacobson's hand is best, but Jorryt with a piece of that board.
7 million.
You heard the Dutchman.
But remember, because Jacobson checked the flop, Van Hoof is certain he is good here with his 9s.
Now Martin Jacobson makes the call. Van Hoof shows the second best hand. Early on, it was Van Hoof who had the cards falling his way and used that bully pulpit to build a monster stack. Jacobson, though, now benefiting from the shifting of tides.
Not only did Jacobson start the final table in 8th place, he was down to 7 big blinds when we were 6-handed.
Felix Stephsen in 2nd place with 53 million and pocket 6s on the button. He and Van Hoof nearly even for the runner-up position behind Jacobson now.
Van Hoof has just been reeling.
Here's a raise to 3 million with the pocket 6s. Van Hoof now in the small blind. Ace-8 offsuit.
8 million.
A re-raise to 8 million.
The longtime chip leader at this final table needs something good to happen.
Now to the chip leader, Martin Jacobson in the big blind. King 7.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Listen, punk, I don't think so means muck it now.
Well, King 7 is a favorite more often than not, heads up, but 3-handed, a little different. He does fold. Back to Stephsen now.
Push. Push. Push!
What are you going to do, Norway?
Listen, punk, push means all in. Heidi-ho. Go for what you know.
I'm all in.
There it is.
Oh, I didn't think he would push. He had 41 big blinds left.
Wow. And that gets Van Hoof to fold. Stephsen giving the former chip leader a taste of his own medicine. Felix Stephsen and Martin Jacobson tag teaming Jorryt van Hoof as he continues his free fall. This time, Stephsen takes another chunk of the Dutchman stack. 9 players came searching for 10 million. Shockingly, Mark Newhouse was the first to go out. Brazilian Bruno Politano followed him. Dan Sindelar took a bad beat with jacks. Andoni Larrabe and Billy Pappas went out 6th and 5th. And Will Tonking busted in 4th. We now have our final 3.
Daniel Negreanu says these 3 are playing some of the finest poker at a final table. That might be true, but let me remind you, most of us literally have not seen most of the main event final tables ever played, so we just wouldn't know.
Figure out the blinds? Or
the blinds are up. 800,000, 1.6 million. The ante is 200K. Martin Jacobson, our chip leader right now, on the button. Queen tray of spades.
When he was in the military for a year, Martin was a chef on a Swedish warship. He had to feed 40 men 5 meals a day, and if he ever screwed up, there might have been mutiny on the bounty, but he was a good chef.
He was the main event chip leader after days 1A and 6, and he is now three-handed.
3.6.
And there's a raise. Stevenson with 5 tray. We'll sit this one out. Van Hoof in the big blind. King, queen off.
Van Hoof says he made the November 9 because 1, a technical understanding of poker, 2, a strong mental game, 3, winning flips at the right time. Hey, forget 1 and 2. I'll just take winning flips at the right time.
No kidding. So with the bigger queen, he just calls. Here's the flop. 8, 6, 9. King high is good for Van Hoof. But not good enough to bet. He checks. Jacobson now checks back. Turn card is a queen. Both like it. Van Hoof's kicker makes him a huge favorite.
Finally, some sunshine for Van Hoof, three-handed.
Van Hoof.
4.8.
4.8.
Need I say more?
He enunciates it so well. Well, you know when you're done with a girl and you're ready to break up and then she buys you that gift you've always wanted and you stay with her a little longer? That's the queen on the turn for Jacobson, and that gift is going to end up costing him. Women.
Jacobson with top pair. Where's he going, you know? There is the call. He doesn't get crazy here.
Jacobson looks at Van Hoof. Van Hoof looks at Jacobson, and they agree to see a river.
And that river, the deuce of clubs. Third club out there, but changes nothing really.
Yeah, but you know, Van Hoof's feeling snake bit lately, and maybe he's even wondering if he just got bit by a backdoor flush.
$12 million.
Okay, well, $12 million is a healthy bet on the river from Van Hoof.
Big bet, big pot. Jacobson's played great, and if he can find a way to fold his queens here, then I guess Kid Poker is dead on about how good these guys are playing. I would have insta-called.
Jacobson's a much better player.
Van Hoof's stare doesn't seem as icy anymore. It seems apprehensive.
Well, Jacobson now playing with calling chips. And there is the call. Van Hoof shows the better queen. And reason to smile for the first time in quite a while for Jorryt van Hoof.
Boy, that feels good to him. 42 million chip pot.
And that is going to make him feel a lot better. Maybe he's back on his game. We have mentioned that Van Hoof came into this final table as the chip leader. Here's a look at how the last 6 main event final table chip leaders have fared. Everyone in the top 3 except for J.C. Tran last year. Of course, Van Hoof guaranteed a top 3 finish as well.
Jonathan Duhamel, the only one in the November 9 era to go from chip leader to champion.
All right, Van Hoof on the button. Ace-5 of diamonds.
He told us, I don't entertain any thoughts about the money. I'll entertain some thoughts for you. Give me and Lon half of it.
There's a raise with the suited ace to $3.6 million. Now to chip leader Martin Jacobson. He peeks at a bigger ace, ace-10.
He busted on the third hand of the very first main event he ever played in 2008, but this year he didn't have a losing level until day 5. He chipped up 22 straight levels to start this main event.
9.2.
And there is the re-raise to $9,200,000. Does Stevenson want to play? Felix looks down at Jack 10. Says, you boys go at it, please.
Yeah, he would love to see these two go at it because the difference between third and second place money is $1.3 million.
Who believes whom?
Well, we just saw Van Hoof with a better queen than Jacobson. This time, Jacobson with a better ace than Van Hoof.
All in.
He shoves!
Call.
Jacobson calls with a bigger ace and a golden chance to knock off Van Hoof.
Boy, Jacobson called that so quickly and matter-of-factly, is as if he knew he was ahead.
A very chagrined Jorryt van Hoof now sees his main event championship hopes draining away.
Yeah, Van Hoof went from being an unstoppable machine who intimidated everyone to getting pushed around. The story of my teens to my 20s. He has stayed in great spirits, but you can see the despair.
Both pair their kicker, and that leaves Van Hoof with few options to keep his seat.
That flop all but closes the door on Van Hoof's main event.
He looks shell-shocked, Norman. All right, the turn card, Queen of Clubs, Jacobson now just one card from eliminating the former chip leader.
River's an 8. No, 8.
The Jacobson camp hoping for heads up. Van Hoof's gotta have a 5.
The river card, another queen! Jacobson takes it! Van Hoof is gone!
You played Dolphin. Good luck. We'll see each other in London.
He was in charge of this final table in the early going, but the tide turned. Martin Jacobson with a knockout. Van Hoof, the latest November Niner chip leader to come up short. Jacobson does the deed. Stephsen with a reason to smile, a $1.3 million pay jump. But it's Martin Jacobson with the chip lead and the confidence. The cash is on its way. Someone's about to get a whole lot richer. Time for the Gentleman Jack right move of the night. It was not Jorryt van Hoof's all-in with ace-5.
All in.
It was Martin Jacobson's quick call with ace-10. He re-raised pre-flop and then knew he had to go with it as Van Hoof committed his entire stack. Jacobson eliminated Van Hoof, leaving Martin and Felix Stephsen heads up for $10 million.
Jacobson's play has been masterful. He was a short stack much of this final table, down to 7 big blinds at one point. He was all in a lot, and now he's got almost all the chips.
Comes down to a Scandinavian heads-up battle. Sweden, Norway, $10 million, and that stunning championship bracelet to our winner.
Norway, a nation of 5 million people. Sweden, a nation of 9 million. One of them about to get its first main event champion.
Of course, Norway produced its World Series of Poker Europe main event champion, an 18-year-old Annette Oberstad a few years back. Jacobson raises to $4 million with Jack-10. Stephsen with pocket sixes. And he makes the call.
This is going to be the 7th straight 20-something pro to win the main event. Peter Eastgate, Joe Cata, Jonathan Duhamel, Pius Hines, Greg Merson, Ryan Reese, and now Stephsen or Jacobson.
The flop is 10-5-4. Top pair for Jacobson. Stephenson's sixes are no good, and he checks. The tournament sharpshooter, that's all he plays, bets $4 million into the cash game specialist.
Stephsen actually came to Las Vegas this summer to take a vacation from poker. The main event was the only World Series tournament he played.
It has been an extended vacation for Felix Stephsen. And with the sixes, he makes the call. Pretty good flop for sixes unless you're up against Martin Jacobson with a bigger pair now.
But you can't blame Felix for continuing along.
Another 4 on the turn. Stephsen checks again. Jacobson checks the paired board back. River card, King of Clubs.
Well, Stephsen actually might think he's good now. But at the Norman Chad School of Poker, we always check a 10-5-4 king board with pocket sixes.
That is one detailed syllabus from your school, Norman. And so Stephsen, with visions of his pocket sixes being good, reaching for chips, and he bets out $8 million. And a quick call from Jacobson with the better hand. And Jacobson calmly sees another piece of his master plan fall into place.
He is in a zone. I mean, the way Jacobson tables his cards, it's like, of course I have that beat.
Jacobson's rail on their feet. Martin Jacobson with over 160 million, extending his lead, moving him closer to achieving his ultimate goal.
What's really important to me is the title. I honestly don't think about the money that much. I'm all for for winning that title and becoming a world champion in something I've dedicated so much time.
Then give him the title and give us the money line, and we can retire together to the new Leisure World inside Biosphere 2.
We can't let our fans down, Norman. That's the only thing I'm thinking about. Stevenson with ace tray on the button, a raise to $3.5 million. Jacobson with king high.
He does yoga, he does meditation, he lifts weights, he buys organic food. That's just too much clean living for me.
We should all take a page from his book. With the king high, he calls for $1.9 million more. All right, here is the flop. 4, Jack, 8. Both miss that flop, so ace high is still in the lead. Jacobson checks king high.
Stevenson might want to stab at it here, as Antonio Esfandiari has taught us. There's $7.5 million in the middle. May as well go try to fetch it.
Puts out $4 million towards those efforts.
Jacobson says he'd love to open a health food, fast food business, or a health club that focuses on body and mind. That just sounds like an upscale brothel to me.
Jacobson with king high makes that call.
Well, Martin's saying, I'm not going to let that pot go unchallenged. $15 million in there now.
Turn card. 9 of clubs, neither pairs up, but Jacobson now with an open-ender.
Yeah, that's a great bluffing card for Martin there.
Wow, $9 million, wasting a little time to bet.
Yeah, he bluffs right at it. A lot of people might check that turn, and then who knows what happens on the river.
So the heat on Stevenson now.
Well, he can't beat anything. Well, except for Jacobson's hand. I couldn't call here. Ace 3 in this spot is no better than a cup of warm spit.
A very tough spot for Stevenson. And he does fold the better hand. The constant pressure from his Swedish counterpart is starting to add up. Well, he's got the crowd, he's got the chips, and with a few more pots, he might have the cash. Martin Jacobson way out in front. A look at Binion's Gambling Hall and Hotel in the heart of downtown Las Vegas. Of course, the World Series of Poker was born there. There's a gallery of champions honoring each main event winner. Either Martin Jacobson or Felix Stephsen will fill that empty hole very shortly. If you're coming to Las Vegas to play poker, Binion's is a must-see. Martin Jacobson with a big lead on Felix Stephsen. Stephsen with a button and king 9.
Felix actually took a picture of the three of us the other day, and I regret to report, Lon, that he already has airbrushed you out of the photo.
Stevenson looking for lightning in a bottle right now. A raise to $3.5 million. Jacobson peers down at king 5.
Stevenson, a pot limit Omaha cash game specialist. Jacobson never plays cash. He loves tournaments. This is his 5th World Series of Poker final table.
And with a lesser king, he's going to get involved. He calls for $1.9 million more. So Stevenson with a dominating hand, trying to get some chips off Jacobson. Here is the flop. 7-5 queen. Jacobson with a pair of 5s to take the lead. He checks.
Well, you just can't give up on pots here. As Antonio Esfandiari says, lots of chips in the middle, and a bet here will take it down often enough to make it the right move.
Stevenson, who missed that flop, bets $4 million, and now to Jacobson with bottom pair.
Yeah, and as Antonio also preaches, it's tough to make a pair and hold them. So with that bottom pair, Martin Jacobson is not going anywhere.
Bottom pair worth a call. Turn card now. 8 of spades. Stevenson now with a gut shot. Jacobson checks again.
Stevenson short stacked, but big-hearted.
Trying to make something happen. $8 million.
Felix started this hand with 21 big blinds and keeps firing away with just king high.
Felix is not going to let Martin run away with this bracelet. He's going to fight for every pot. Jacobson folds the best hand.
Well, Jacobson didn't like fourth pair, and if he calls there, he might face a bigger bet on the river. Well done, Felix Stephsen.
Jacobson decided to shut it down and move on, and that's just fine with Felix Stephsen. Stevenson's crowd trying to rev him up. We've spoken about Felix all night, and what a terrific player he is. Born in Norway, now lives in London. He wore a Chargers hat throughout the tournament in July, but he abandoned it here in November.
Yeah, he told us he didn't want to mislead the good people of San Diego any longer. He's not a Chargers fan. Actually, and regrettably, he is a New York Giants fan.
This final table brings out the greatest costumes, I gotta tell you. Stevenson, Queen 8 of spades.
They are poker crazy in Norway at this year's Norwegian Poker Championship main event, played in Dublin because of Norwegian gaming law. There were 1,263 entries. That means 1 of every 4,000 persons who lives in Norway played in the main event.
Stevenson with a raise to $3.5 million, 9-7 of spades for Jacobson.
Chris Bjorn of Sweden made the main event final table in 1997. Then starting in 2004, a Swede made the main event final table 3 straight years. Matthias Andersson, Daniel Bergsdorf, and Eric Freiberg.
This Swede makes the call.
Do you remember Matthias Andersson, Lon?
Oh, what a polarizing figure. The screaming Swede. I liked him. 9 tray queen, middle pair for Jacobson, top pair for Stevenson.
The tide might be turning, and when the tide turns, there can be an undertow. And when there's an undertow, people's lives shift. And when people's lives shift, that's how you go from a short stack to a big stack. And that's how Rupert Murdoch built his media empire.
Sounded more like a write-up for Days of Our Lives, actually. Stevenson bets $4 million.
This is top pair versus middle pair. I know enough to know middle pair is in trouble.
But middle pair makes the call. Middle pair has a lot of chips, though. He can afford the call. Turn card. Jack of clubs, no help to Martin. Felix adds a gut shot to his holdings. Jacobson checks again.
Stevenson with the best hand, and now picking up that straight draw. He's going to bet $6.8 million.
6.8. Close. 8 million.
A tad too much for my liking, but everyone bet sizes the way they please.
Jacobson with a piece of the board. Trying to figure out Felix Stevenson. You cannot give this guy an inch, and he knows it, and Jacobson will fold.
A good fold from Jacobson. I think he calls a $6.8 million chip bet.
Stevenson chipping away, but he is chipping away at a mountain of chips.
Turning tide, though.
Stevenson making a run, but the Norwegian better be prepared to work. Jacobson not giving anything away lightly. Daniel Kid Poker Negreanu, the newest member of Poker's Hall of Fame, inducted along with legendary tournament director Jack McClelland.
Kid Poker just turned 40. He was elected into the Poker Hall of Fame the first year he was eligible.
Back to our heads-up action. The winner wins all that cash and the bracelet. Felix Stevenson with a big uphill climb. Jacobson with a lead of $162 million to $38 million. Pocket nines. A raise to $4 million.
Jacobson trying to become Sweden's first main event champ. Stevenson trying to become Norway's first main event champ.
With Queen 8 in the big blind. And Stevenson with a re-raise with that hand to $9.5 million.
Uh-oh, that's a 3-bet, but Jacobson has pocket nines. The tide could be turning back, and when it does, that creates some angry waves, which in turn rewards stout and sensible propensities, and that's how Larry Ellison turned software into hard cash. And that's not Days of Our Lives, that's a fact, Jack.
It's pocket nines!
Oh.
All in.
Wow, all in with pocket nines. Of course, the bigger stack. Stevenson does fold quickly.
Stevenson gifts away 25% of his stack there. Jacobson in command now.
Yeah, that undoes a lot of the small ball success that Felix was having recently against Jacobson. Martin Jacobson could put out another book, not only the how to go all in, but how to become a world champion if he finishes this one off. A prodigious lead for the Swedish pro. Stevenson with the button. Ace-9 of hearts.
This is Stevenson's first World Series cash ever. It's a pretty good one.
Minimum payout $5.1 million here. He's going to raise it up with a suited ace, $3.5 million. now. Jacobson peeks down at 2 red 10s.
2 big hands, heads up.
All in.
He re-raises Stephsen all in. There is the call, but Stephsen is not going to like what he sees.
Those hands played themselves. Nothing Stephsen could do but get lucky now.
Martin Jacobson set up to claim this championship right now.
Just leave that puck. You can fight small. You can fight a lot smaller when you're that puck.
To his credit, Scott Seaver still coaching here in case we continue.
The combatants can only now wait for the dealer.
If you want, you can just not be 3-bet. You cannot be 3-bet.
And here is the flop. A 10 in the window. Jacobson with the set. Stephsen all but cooked.
Yeah, only running 9s or running aces will keep Martin Jacobson away from the main event title now.
Good game, man. Well played. Good job. Come on, where's the sweat? Yeah. 9.
That's pretty well.
Hey, say anything. All right, so you're buying dinner then.
It's not over yet.
And now the turn card. Jacobson poised to take the cash. It's a king. It's over. Martin Jacobson completes his masterpiece to become the 2014 World Champion.
Pocket 10s deliver $10 million for Martin Jacobson.
He made this night his own, making nearly every right decision on his way to this glorious moment.
He was so good with a short stack, and then he was so good with a big stack. You can't play perfect poker, but Martin Jacobson was near spotless.
A look at the final results. Martin Jacobson becomes the first ever main event champ from Sweden. Picks up a nice payday to go along with it. Felix Stephsen wins over $5.1 million for second. Time for the DraftKings.com King of the Night. No doubt about it, it's Martin Jacobson.
Yeah, I've been close a lot of times, but I felt like all those close shots was leading up to this moment, so I had a really good feeling coming in. I think I'm in shock. I'm not really feeling anything right now. I just feel super weird.
On poker's biggest stage, 3 Europeans fought for $10 million. In the end, it was Sweden's Martin Jacobson who cemented his legacy. He came in as the most decorated player at this final table, and he certainly leaves that way. For Norman, Chad, and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Thanks for being with us throughout the season. We hope you'll be back next year. Martin Jacobson, 2014 Main Event Champion.